Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back, everybody. We're going to talk about something today that I'm sure that's going to make you think. And it's going to give you insight. We're talking about the grief process. And you may even say to yourself, nobody passed away recently. I'm not grieving. We've all had passings over the years. Maybe you are still grieving and you don't even realize it. Or maybe it's something more recent and you feel stuck in life, like life is not moving forward for you. You don't know how to get unstuck within the passing of someone or the ending of something. It could be the ending of a relationship. It could be the ending of a job. It's all part of grieving. She has the National Grief Support Center. Wonderful, wonderful practice organization that helps people get unstuck, understand that you're not alone, have somebody to talk to and walk the journey and support you as she has done. Julie Ehlers is back with us. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Steve. I'm really happy to be here and to continue the conversation. And I think that what you said about being stuck, we can be stuck in our grief. Grief is a powerful, powerful thing. It's the emotional reaction, to remind everybody, it's the emotional reaction to the loss of someone close to you or something, as you mentioned, loss of job, could be, loss of relationship. And those are big things that are a part of any human being's world. So sometimes when we get the rug pulled out from under us, or we get the gut punch because somebody close has passed, or you lost a job suddenly, you walk away from that with huge feelings. Everybody knows that feeling who has had the experience. And then as days pass, you can either say to yourself, wow, this is momentous and I am truly grieving this, and walk through grief consciously, or we can be how we want to be, which is not deal with it. I think most people don't want to deal with it because it's so massive and it's so hard. And so as a consequence of that, we get stuck in it. And it also it keeps us from living completely fully, feeling the joy again in life. Feeling the beautiful miracles that happen every day that bring us happiness. Instead, we might become stuck in anger or stuck in defensiveness. And those ways keep us from living fully. Those things, defensiveness and anger, keep us from living fully.
So I look at the different situations where grief can present itself. And let's say you're grieving a relationship, married, I don't know, a lot of years, right? And it ended in a divorce. So there is definitely grief involved in that. There's probably some anger, on and on and on. Does that also apply in many ways with the passing of someone where those emotions are still there? There's anger. There's a lot going on there. But they say when it's a situation that there's forgiveness, you need to forgive. That's for you to move forward. Maybe somebody did something hellacious. You don't condone it. You're just forgiving so you can move forward. Is that also part of when somebody passes away many times, that there are things that need to be forgiven? Maybe it's even yourself.
Yes. And I think that you just said something really profound, which is to forgive yourself. We often are, we forgive others, right? They may have said something that harmed us, hurt us, or they did something to us. And we learn to forgive that. But we also have to forgive ourselves, okay, for whatever in those relationships. Maybe it was our reactions that we didn't like to the person when they hurt us. We reacted in a way that wasn't so great. Maybe we weren't there for them either when they weren't there for us. That was our reaction. And we realize just because someone isn't there for us in a certain moment in time in our
Mm.
lives does not mean that we have to react in the same. But
Mm.
we often do. We often do. Some people feel very revengeful. Um, and so that also keeps us stuck. But what you just described is not just for losing a relationship, such as a marriage. It is also when somebody dies. Many of us feel a sense of, I didn't get to tell him this, that, and the other thing.
Mm. You
Because,
you
go
make
ahead.
us think because last time we got together, and before I even go here, Julie, I just want to say, um, yeah, we've just met not too long ago. You have this wonderful way of making the connection. I feel like I've known you. It's the
Mhm.
weirdest. It's the weirdest thing, and that's why you're, I know, so wonderful at what you do in helping people through the grieving process. But last time we got together, I started thinking, and my dad, I shared passed when I was 21. Suddenly, we didn't have the greatest relationship. My parents got divorced when I was very, very young. Yeah, he was around, but he was really not around. Um, and it was making me think, in terms of um, forgiving myself because, I'm going to be, I'm always transparent. He wasn't there so much for me. So when I turned 17, I got a great job, had a girlfriend, and it was almost as if like, you know, oh yeah, really? Blank you. I'm doing my life. We still got together. I remember once, hanging out by the water on his boat, shortly before he passed. Um, but that's inside of me is like, I shouldn't have done that. I
Mhm.
shouldn't have, kind of wrote him off because he wrote me off. So I live with that. And I
Mhm.
think that if I go deep into it, even though it's been many, 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 many decades, it still sits inside.
Right, right.
So even though we think we're done grieving, we're probably not. And I wonder for all of us, not just me, just in general, if it's been somebody that passed a long time ago, could there unresolved situations, forgiving yourself, whatever it might be, you think that holds us back there in some way that we don't realize?
Yes, it does.
Hmm.
Um, because I'm very conscientious about my own grief and about things that have happened in my life that are really momentous, from people dying and maybe not having, maybe not having the wherewithal at the time to be able to look at where I was at and
Hmm.
resolve that. It comes up later. And when that comes up, and I know I mentioned this in the first podcast, even though I feel like I'm a master at what I do, I have my own stuff that will rise. And when that rises today, I say, okay, what does that look like for me? What do I need to do to heal that? And I have the tools to do that. And I give those tools to others. And one of the things that I want to give today, right now, to you is to take some time for yourself to jot down how you're feeling, sit with it, and just sit with it. And then jot down more. Wow, had no idea I was feeling this way. That's powerful because we have to pause in order to hear our heart. We have to pause in order to hear our thoughts. And we hear
Hmm.
our thoughts first because we're intellectual beings, but we're also feeling beings. So drop it down to the heart space and feel that and say, how can I heal that? Hmm. I'm going to tell dad. I'm going to tell dad. I know that he may or may not hear me depending on your belief systems. And, some people might find that hoobly boobly. It's not. It's both psychologically and emotionally healing to do that. And it's also um, spiritually healing to do that, depending on your beliefs.
And I agree with you 1,000,000% times a million. And
Yay.
scientifically proven that when you write things down, it becomes reality.
Mm-hmm.
There is an amazing connection between your mind, the spiritual side,
Mm-hmm.
all of that. When you write it down, don't type it,
Mm-hmm.
write it. There's a reason.
Exactly.
Very important.
Exactly.
Very important. And on the spiritual side, my mom passed 6 years ago, and I've shared this a million times with everybody I know. All I say is if you want to connect with somebody, ask for a sign.
Mm-hmm.
I've done it with my dad. I haven't really gotten anything. My mom, I could fill 15 podcasts with the signs I get. And I don't know if I don't mind going to go into them here. Very specific. There's not even a doubt. I'll take it right to my grave. There's not
Right.
even a doubt. Is
Right.
it? And then, then you can debate, is it those signs coming from her as reassurance, or is there God working with her, or is he, whatever it is, I get
Right.
him and
Right.
it's reassurance. But I also look for the positives in the passing of someone or the relationship. And I had epiphany and with my dad, and I'll share this. It happened just last week. It was a conversation with a bunch of other people about forgiveness. And back when I was like 8 years old, my father worked in like an electrical plant. I didn't really know what Dad did so much, but he was around electronics and stuff. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be on the radio. So in a magazine, I found plans to build a transmitter. So I ripped them out, black and white back then, put it in an envelope, sealed it, sent it. Like, Dad, can you please build this for me? I would, blah, 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 blah. He never did. I don't know if he did know how, but then my thought was, well, you're around all these people in this electrical plant. Maybe somebody, you could ask somebody. He didn't do it and didn't really address it either. And it hurt. It
Mm-hmm.
hurt. Like, I just wanted one little thing. I wanted to be on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
I thank him for not doing it now
Mm.
because him not doing it forced me to learn how to do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I taught myself electronics, how to make PC boards. I built my own mixer. I built transmitters. They would get stronger and stronger and stronger. That's how I got a job. I didn't have a
Fantastic.
driver's license, and I got a job in radio at the biggest station in New York and stayed there for 26 years and still continued on and on and on. Thanks, Dad.
Exactly. Okay, there's that connection. That is such a beautiful story to share, Steve,
There's
because
connection in everything, Julie.
yes.
Can I share one more? And this is going to be
Yes,
15 seconds in
please.
itself.
Please.
Joined a men's group. Been in it for a year. Went on a retreat last year this time. Part of the message, 3 days, all day long, into the night, these different lessons. We talk, blah, 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 blah. At first, I swear, I thought it was a cult. It's not. It was just, I'm kidding. And, wonderful relationships with the men now that I have. And it's like, here's the connection and the sign. The message on the second to last day was, and by the way, in the group, we only refer to ourselves with our last name to honor our father, whether you like them or not.
Mm.
The message was, thank your father. Whatever it is, thank him. Why am I bringing this up? The very last day of this event, I didn't realize it. It was his birthday.
Oh my gosh.
Like, what are the chances of that? Like,
Uh-huh.
oh, whoa, I'm here for a reason.
Uh-huh.
Somehow I got sent here. And so it could all kind of come clear. So I'm just saying, look for the signs, look for the connection, because you're probably going to see them if you look deep enough.
Exactly. I'm doing what I'm doing today because my late partner asked me over and over again, what do you want to do in your life that's more meaningful than the law firm that I worked for. What you have inside of you, Julie, is so much bigger than what you do. That really struck me. And I stayed on with the firm for years after she died because I needed the benefits. I needed the paycheck. I was afraid to start a whole new thing by myself, right?
Sure.
I had the fear.
Fear. There you go. There's the word, the F
Yes.
word.
So
Yeah.
the F word, F-E-A-R, it's
Yeah.
awful. So yeah, so I would say that's a stuck piece. That's a stuck piece of grief from me moving forward. I moved forward finally. And it was 8 years after that death, and 8 years after the messaging. And I said to myself, wow, look at what's happening here full circle. The messaging is still with me. It's still in my heart. And I truly believe that others that have gone before us see us and understand and applaud us as we go along. They're still with us.
I agree.
It's the infinite. If you don't believe in what Steve and I are sharing here right now, let's just look at the infinite line, the forever line of love. When somebody passes, your dad, even though he wasn't there for you, he loved you. He didn't show it in ways that you needed it as a child, as a young adult, but he loved you. And my people that have gone before me loved me deeply. All of them have come to me, my dad included. And my dad actually said to me at one point, and this is after his death, I'm sorry I couldn't be there for you more during these times of your life. And he named them.
You got
And
that.
yes, I got that. And it was so powerful how it came through. Everybody on the East Coast has heard of Teresa Caputo, or maybe you haven't. Have you?
Stop. Well,
Okay.
as she would say, shut the door.
Shut the door with her
If
big hair.
She started radio with me.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Season 5, season finale. It's me and her.
Oh my God.
And me and my ex and her ex, Larry, used to double date. As a matter of fact, I was just texting with Larry the other day. He was living in California. Now he's back in New York.
Okay.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
get, and I'm glad you brought that up. You didn't know you brought it up for a reason, but I wanted to share this. Whoa. Whoa. I've worked with the biggest psychics for decades.
I didn't know that.
She being one of them. And I wanted to say, but you opened the door for me to say it, that I've seen the connections, how they connect with people that have passed over.
Mm-hmm.
I witnessed it.
Mm-hmm.
It's real.
Mm-hmm.
We would take phone calls live on the air. There's thousands of people calling, and it's not set up. I watched it. How do they make that connection? All those years, and it goes back 30 plus years of me working with the top psychics. Just, I want a psychic connoisseur. It just happened.
Right.
I was exposed to it. The energy, I finally realized after my mom passed 6 years ago, that when somebody passes, the energy is still around us. It's still here. It's still around. The body is, the container is gone.
Right.
But all those years I didn't get it and understand it in that way. Now I see it and I understand it. So I wanted to share that. It's not about me. I didn't want to even get into talking about it, but you opened the door with talking about Teresa.
No, you bring so much, Steve, to this topic, okay? Not just the psychic topic and understanding that, when people pass, that they're still around. And even, years later, they're around.
Yeah.
My brother came to me in a whole psychic meeting. I was at a senior home and they invited me I was there talking about grief, and they invited me to stay because they were having a psychic come in. And these are all people who are like primarily 75 and above, who have lost their partners, their children, their friends, all these people. And they're coming to sit in front of this psychic and see what they have to say. This is a psychic in Denver, and she's fantastic. I met her through that meeting. At the end, she says, I'm hearing all these people that the people that had passed before the audience members were all coming forward to her. And then at the very end, she says, is there somebody in this room whose loved one passed away years ago and they would have been in their late 50s now? Immediately, ding, 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 my brother. That's the first sign. Second sign was, and he was a ball of love. He was a trickster, and he's coming through above everybody, telling everyone, get out of the way. I want to tell my sister something. I raised my hand. I said, that's me. That's my brother.
Mm-hmm.
And she told me how much he loved me, and the messaging was love, and that he misses me, but he's with me all the time. And I did not need to hear that because I know all those other signs that have come through the years from him passing. But it was so profound because that was about 25 years after he died.
Wow.
It's been 30 years this year. So, there's still, the point is they're still around. They're still very much alive. And what Teresa and other people do is really profound work with grievers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There are some out there that aren't legit. The ones
Real
we're
deal.
mentioning are. I'm great friends with, they're the Psychic Sisters. They live in the area where I live in New York, become very close friends. And my dad never would come through except this time. And this is going about like 8 years ago. Jolene, one of the sisters, said to me, yeah, your dad's here. I had him in the studio. We're on the air. Your dad's here. Chocolate shake. I don't know. He's saying chocolate shake. What's going on with the chocolate shake? And I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, I got nothing. Chocolate shake. And all of a sudden, bam, I was like, OMG. When my dad would come to visit me and my sister, I am talking when I was like 4. He would bring this thing that had a cup, the mixes for chocolate, all the stuff you need. You just add milk and shake it up. And I would look forward to that. Dad, you have the chocolate shake? How the hell do you pull that out? For people that don't believe in psychics, give me something here. I don't like, where do you come? That was my childhood. How did they even pull that up?
Right.
There's somehow they must have tapped into his energy, or he wanted to, whatever it might be. It's real. It's real. Yeah.
And that's the proven point for you from the other side to you. So I kind of want to weave that into, the work that I do to share with people that I understand that when you're talking to others, especially in the early parts of grief, say the first 5 years of it, first year for sure, when things are very raw feelings, feeling very vulnerable, and you're out in the world and you're trying to work and people ask you questions and you just feel like skin crawl raw. I am here to listen. I am here to validate the very real stuff you're going through with your grief. And while Steve and I are talking about these profound things that have happened, to be open to that is to move through being stuck. To be open to that is to get your new skin, and you can get your new skin through walking through the work that I do with you. And there's a lot of hope. There's so much hope, and people will come into your lives that will bring that and will support you and hold you in your grief. And I just want you all to know that, you can reach out and there is somebody there for you. And it kind of leads me into something you said last week, Steve, and that we're all beautifully broken. I just love that phrase, beautifully broken, because we are. And there is a Japanese art of kintsugi, Kintsugi. And the art form is the Japanese take the broken pot, say it's clay, and they put it back together with gold. And it becomes this beautiful piece of it's the metaphor for bringing yourself back after having a broken heart. It is a metaphor for the human resilience and demonstrating how we can emerge stronger and more beautiful.
Yeah. I love it. I've heard of that and can never remember the name of it.
Right. Me either. Until
Sugi. And now that you said it, it's etched in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
But what's so beautiful about it is, aside from the fact that more and more of us finally in 2025 are admitting, I'm not perfect. I got cracks in my shell. It's all right. The core is still the same, but I got some cracks in the shell.
Mm-hmm.
The Japanese embrace it because when they put it all back together again, you see the cracks in that piece of pottery or whatever it might be.
Right.
And you know what's weird? I got to share on camera here. The shirt that you're wearing almost looks like it has gold in it. And
I didn't notice
like
that. It does.
Cracks that are put back together again.
Mm-hmm.
How weird. Or not.
Or not.
Or not.
Or not. And I didn't notice that, but I do see that now.
It's kind of, and if it was another color, I wouldn't, feel to say that, but it almost here looks like a yellowy golden color of a design that, if you want to look at it that way, you're the pottery put back together, and that's the gold, that gold glue, if you will, whatever it is.
Yes,
we're out of time. They're telling us that we got to wrap it up. I don't want to. I just want to keep going.
Me too.
Love what you do. Love the way you do it. I've talked to others that do what you do, and they're fine. They're great. You bring so much different empathy, understanding, all of it. Amazing. How do we find you?
nationalgriefsupportcenter.com. And you can call me directly, 720-480-3317. You are not alone. Pick up the phone if you feel alone, or you feel sad, or you just want to heal and you want to walk through the grief process. I'm here for you.
Support is the key word. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Julie, thank you so much for today. You created epiphanies for me last time. I don't know what's going to come up this time, but it's all good as we go through what we go through, because we are beautifully broken.
Yes, we are.
Appreciate it. All right. We'll talk next time.
Okay.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Let's go inside the mind of a 10-year-old.
I should have worn those earrings today. I like those earrings. Gabby has those awesome earrings. I need to ask her where she got those, but that's just what she would want me to do. I'll have Michaela ask her for me.
Buckle up, Sarah.
Yeah, but then Michaela will be like, why don't you just ask her yourself? That's just like Michaela.
Sarah, buckle up.
Michaela's such a great name. I wish I was called Michaela. There's like a dozen Sarahs in my class.
Hey, we're not hitting the road until you buckle up, honey.
Oh yeah, seatbelt. I forget sometimes because my brain is like busy, I wonder if there's pizza at school today.
Sometimes it can be tough to get through to your kids, but it's not impossible. Always make sure they're wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Remember, you have the keys, you have the power. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.